What if the monsters from ancient legends weren't just stories? Some mythical creatures have left behind evidence so convincing that scientists had to step in and investigate. Today, we're counting down 7 creatures that blurred the line between myth and reality. And trust me, the last one on this list will completely mess with your understanding of what's possible. 1. The Hobbit. Indonesian folklore told stories of the ibu gogo, small human-like creatures that lived in caves, spoke in whispers, and could be mischievous or dangerous. They stood about 3 feet tall, were covered in hair, and walked upright. Local people insisted these weren't myths. They said the ibu gogo were real, and some lived in remote areas until just a few hundred years ago. Scientists ignored this completely, until 2003, archaeologists excavating a cave on the island of Flores discovered something that shouldn't exist. Skeletal remains of a human species that stood only 3.5 feet tall. The skull showed a brain about 1/3 the size of a modern human's. The bones were 18,000 years old, but some evidence suggested they survived until as recently as 12,000 years ago. They named it Homo floresiensis. The scientific community nicknamed it the Hobbit. Here's where it gets absolutely wild. Local oral traditions describe the ibu gogo with remarkable accuracy to what the fossils reveal. Same height, same remote cave locations. The myths even describe them as existing into recent history. Some researchers began wondering, did Homo floresiensis survive longer than the fossils suggest? Could modern humans have actually encountered them? There's no confirmed evidence they survived past 50,000 years ago, but oral traditions can preserve surprisingly accurate information across thousands of years. Aboriginal Australians have stories of megafauna that align perfectly with extinct species. The same could be true here. The discovery of Homo floresiensis changed everything. It proved that other human species existed alongside Homo sapiens far more recently than anyone thought possible. It proved that little people legends might not be fantasies. And it proved that sometimes the myths know something science hasn't discovered yet. 2. Giant anacondas. Explorers in the Amazon have reported encounters with anacondas over 50 feet long, thick as oil drums, capable of swallowing a grown man whole. Indigenous tribes tell stories of snakes so large they could crush riverboats. Most scientists called this impossible exaggeration, but then they started measuring. The largest confirmed anaconda ever measured was 28 feet long and weighed over 500 pounds. That's already massive. But here's the thing. Anacondas live in some of the most remote, unexplored areas on Earth. The Amazon rainforest covers 2.1 million square miles, much of it never surveyed by scientists. In 2024, researchers using drones and environmental DNA sampling discovered a new population of green anacondas, genetically distinct from known species. These snakes were significantly larger than average, with some individuals estimated at over 30 feet based on shed skins. Local guides have photographs, blurry, taken at a distance, but showing something massive moving through water. The problem is that snakes never stop growing. An anaconda that avoids predators, disease, and human contact could theoretically reach extraordinary sizes. But the story doesn't end there. Titanoboa, a prehistoric snake that lived 60 million years ago, measured over 40 feet long and weighed more than a ton. Its fossils prove that snakes can reach the sizes described in those impossible explorer accounts. The Amazon's warm, prey-rich environment is exactly the kind of habitat that could support enormous reptiles. No one's found a 50-foot anaconda yet, but in a rainforest that size, with new species discovered every year, you can't say it's impossible. You can only say we haven't looked everywhere. 3. The Thunderbird. Native American tribes across North America spoke of the Thunderbird, a massive bird so large its wings created thunder and its eyes flashed lightning. Stories described it carrying off full-grown deer, even children. Early European settlers dismissed these as spiritual myths. Then the fossils started appearing. Pterotonus miriami, an extinct bird of prey, had a wingspan of up to 12 feet and weighed around 30 pounds. But that wasn't the biggest. Argentavis magnificens, found in South America, had a wingspan estimated at 23 feet. This thing was the size of a small airplane. It lived 6 million years ago. But here's the thing. Massive birds of prey existed much more recently. Haast's eagle in New Zealand went extinct only 500 years ago. It had a wingspan of nearly 10 feet and hunted moa, birds that stood over 10 feet tall. Maori oral traditions described this exact creature. The myth preserved the memory of something real. In the 1970s, multiple witnesses in Illinois reported seeing a massive bird carry off a 10-year-old boy, lifting him several feet off the ground before dropping him. Authorities investigated. Cryptozoologists pointed to the Thunderbird legend. But here's where it gets weird. California condors, which still exist today, have a 10-foot wingspan and were nearly extinct. As conservation efforts bring them back, sightings of impossibly large birds have increased in western states. People aren't familiar with just how big these birds actually are. Ancient people would have had the same reaction, but amplified if they encountered even larger prehistoric species. The Thunderbird wasn't myth, it was ornithology waiting to be discovered. 4. The chupacabra. In 1995, farmers in Puerto Rico started finding their livestock dead. Goats, chickens, sheep, all drained of blood through strange puncture wounds. Witnesses described a creature like nothing they'd seen before. Reptilian skin, spines down its back, powerful hind legs, glowing red eyes. They called it the chupacabra, the goat sucker. The sightings spread. Mexico, Texas, Florida, hundreds of reports, all describing the same basic creature. Then, scientists started examining the bodies. Most turned out to be coyotes with severe mange, a parasitic skin disease. Mange destroys hair follicles, leaving skin thick, leathery, and grayish. The animals become emaciated, desperate, and nocturnal to avoid the sun's pain on their exposed skin. In this state, they look absolutely alien. But here's where it gets weird. The blood draining part was real. When predators attack livestock, especially through the neck, the massive blood loss and specific puncture patterns can make it appear the animal was drained. Some researchers pointed to vampire bats, which do exist in Central and South America and feed exclusively on blood. Then, in 2007, a rancher in Texas shot and killed a strange, hairless creature killing his chickens. DNA analysis confirmed it, coyote with mange. But the photos went viral because it looked exactly like the witnesses' descriptions. Terrifying, alien, impossible. The chupacabra legend persists because mange creates a creature that looks genuinely otherworldly. Add nocturnal sightings, fear, and legitimate livestock deaths, and you've got yourself a monster. The myth was real, it just had a medical explanation. 5. The Loch Ness Monster. In 1933, a couple driving along Loch Ness in Scotland reported seeing a massive creature cross the road and disappear into the water. The newspapers went wild. Soon, hundreds of people claimed sightings of a long-necked creature swimming in the dark waters. They called it Nessie. The descriptions were remarkably consistent. A long neck, humped back, flippers, around 20 to 30 feet long. For decades, scientists dismissed it as mass hysteria. Then, they started looking at the geology and biology of the loch itself. Loch Ness is enormous, over 750 feet deep in places, with visibility near zero due to peat particles. It's connected to the ocean by a series of rivers and canals. Something large could theoretically live there undetected. But here's where it gets weird. In the 1960s, sonar equipment detected large, moving objects deep in the loch that didn't match any known fish. Multiple independent sonar readings showed the same thing. Then, in 2003, a BBC expedition used 600 sonar beams to sweep the entire loch. They found nothing conclusive, but couldn't rule out unknown large animals. Scientists now point to several explanations. Giant sturgeon can reach 12 feet long and occasionally swim into the loch from the sea. European eels can grow massive in deep, food-rich waters. Floating logs and waves create optical illusions that look exactly like humps moving through water. But the legend persists because Loch Ness has all the right conditions. Depth, darkness, connection to the ocean, and thousands of years of local folklore about water monsters. Science hasn't proven Nessie exists, but it hasn't proven she doesn't either. 6. The Kongamato. In the remote swamps of Zambia and the Congo, native tribes have described the Kongamato for generations. The name means breaker of boats. Witnesses describe a massive flying creature with leathery wings, a long beak full of teeth, and a wingspan of 4 to 7 feet. It attacks fishermen in canoes, leaving deep wounds. In 1923, explorer Frank Melland was investigating reports in Zambia. He showed local witnesses illustrations of various animals. When they saw a drawing of a pterodactyl, they immediately identified it as the Kongamato. Same wings, same beak, same everything. That should be impossible. Pterosaurs went extinct 66 million years ago. But here's where it gets weird. Central Africa has some of the most unexplored swampland on Earth. New species are discovered regularly. In 1938, scientists found a living coelacanth, a fish thought extinct for 66 million years. It had been living in deep waters the entire time, completely undetected. Scientists now point to the hammerkop bird and the shoebill stork. Both have massive wingspans, aggressive territorial behavior, and prehistoric-looking beaks. The shoebill can stand 5 feet tall with a 7-foot wingspan. When it attacks, wings spread in low light over water. It looks genuinely prehistoric. There's more. Large fruit bats in the region have wingspans over 4 feet and can be aggressive when defending territory. In the chaos of a sudden attack on a small boat, a witness wouldn't be thinking clearly. But deep in those swamps, where satellites can't penetrate the canopy and humans rarely venture, the possibility of something unknown isn't as crazy as it sounds. The Kongamato might not be a pterosaur, but it's definitely something. 7. The Yeti. For centuries, Sherpa communities in the Himalayas have told stories of the Yeti, a massive ape-like creature covered in white or reddish-brown fur that walks upright through the snow. Mountaineers climbing Everest reported finding enormous footprints at impossible altitudes, over 19,000 feet, where no known animal should survive. In 1951, British explorer Eric Shipton photographed a footprint in the snow. It was 13 inches long, clearly showing 5 toes. The image went worldwide. Expeditions launched. The search was on. Then, in 2017, scientists did something that changed everything. They collected supposed Yeti samples from museums around the world. Bones, teeth, hair, even a mummified finger. Using DNA analysis, they tested 9 different samples. 8 came back as various bear species. 1 was a dog. No unknown primate, no missing link. But here's where it gets weird. 2 samples matched a rare species called the Tibetan brown bear, an animal so elusive that scientists have only confirmed a handful of sightings. These bears are massive, can walk upright, and live at extreme altitudes in remote mountain caves. They're blonde to reddish-brown. When they rear up on hind legs, they stand over 7 feet tall. Local populations rarely see them. When they do, especially in snow and fog at high altitude, the encounter is brief and terrifying. The Yeti legend makes perfect sense. It's not a myth, it's a rare bear, misidentified by people who had no framework to explain what they were seeing. Science didn't kill the Yeti legend, it explained it. These 7 creatures prove something important. The line between myth and reality is thinner than we think. Ancient people weren't just making things up, they were trying to explain the world with the evidence they had. And sometimes they got it exactly right. Which mythical creature do you think might be real? Let me know in the comments.